Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to the shop. I haven't done a video in a good little while. I've been pretty busy with things, holiday season, and trying to finish this guitar project, which I'm not finished with. But anyway, recently I've been asked by a friend to make a little picture frame for a picture that they bought in town. Yeah, it's a nice picture of our town, Mountain City, Tennessee. And so I had some chestnut, reclaimed chestnut from an old house that was on our property long time ago, 100 years ago at least. As you know, American chestnut's gone, and they're trying to restart it, but it's gone. The blight took it in the early 1900s. By about 1917, up here in the mountains, it was gone. But anyway, so what I've got here is some sticks that I have milled out here. Just some rough sticks of American chestnut, and some of these. There's even some leftover dimples and paint spots, so I'm going to put that to the back. The front of the picture frame will be the better side here. These are just a little over 1.5 inches wide, so I want to show you just real quick how to make a picture frame with some old tools. We're going to be using several old tools, and I'm going to show you those tools here and how to use them in order to make a picture frame. It's very satisfying. Makes really clean moldings that you don't really have to sand very much because they're really nice and shiny. It's not like a router that leaves a little. If you put a unfinished or finished surface that a router's been over and you haven't sanded it, it's going to be a little ridges and bumps, and you'll see them. And so you got to try to sand those out and all those. The molding planes make just an absolutely gorgeous finish. So we're going to look at that a little bit, and I'll show you some more of that in just a second. Now the ones we're going to use, I've got several planes laid out here. First off, this one here. This is a Stanley number 78 rabbet plane. It has 2 positions for the blade, and if you notice, the blade comes right to the edge. I don't know if you can see this or not. Right to the edge of the casting there, and on the other side, it's open on the casting as well. And that means it can plane right up against an edge and make it nice and sharp, clean edge. So this is a number 78 rabbet plane. This one's actually Ward's Master, but it was same as a Stanley. It has an adjustable fence here that you can adjust this way for an offset. And then this is a depth stop. So whenever it gets to a certain depth, it'll stop. It also has a nicker under here for doing cross grain work. It's just a little tiny point, like a fingernail, that goes across and cuts. The blade is set straight across the plane. Works really good along with the grain, and it works okay against the grain. Not perfect, but it's usually only taking out a small piece like this. It's not a big deal. Now, its forerunner was this here. This is what's called a moving Philister plane. This is a beauty right here. This particular one is nearly 200 years old. It's very old. It got it from the tool store above Roy Underhill's shop in Pittsburgh, North Carolina. Anyway, so the main difference, and you won't be able to see this very well because I've got the fence set here, and I'm not going to move it because I have it set, is that the blade, instead of going straight across the plane, the body of the plane like this, the blade is actually skewed like this. So the blade cuts at an angle, which means it cuts really good across the grain. It'll cut great across the grain and deep. The only trick about both of these rabbet planes is to make sure the blade's set into the corner. This one also has a depth stop, which is adjusted by a screw up here. And this one also has a nicker, which is just pushed down and tapped down with this just kind of wedge-shaped nicker here. So those are a couple of the planes. We're also going to use this. It's a rounding plane right here. It's got a round bottom on it. You can see right there, round profile. And it's a molding plane. And this one here, this is one of my other favorites right here. This is called a Quirk Ogie. And this girl right here is nearly 200 years old. It is 200 years old, actually. The plane maker went out of business in about 1810. So this particular plane is old plane. But it is a beauty, and if you can see the edge there, it's going to cut. It's called a Quirk Ogie, and so it's an Ogie right here, and it's got a quirk on it. And we'll show you how to. I'm going to show you how to use that in just a second. Okay. Okay. I'm going to start with this Quirk Ogie plane, this old plane. Now the thing you want to make sure of is where the alignment of everything is going to go. So along this edge down here. Hope you can't see that pencil line, but anyway, that down here is going to be the rabbeted edge to receive the picture and the glass. This over here is going to be the molded side, and my show face is up here on the top. Now, you want to make sure of this because this plane has a specific profile, and it puts a quirk or a little bead in the edge here. If you can see the edge of that profile right there, I think you can. It puts this little quirk in here. Now if you do this wrong, like I just did on this stick here, then you get the quirk over here instead of here, which is not what you want. So I had to plane it down to a thinner piece and start again. And actually was able to turn the plane around. It was close enough and get it, I think. So lesson learned, be very, very careful about how you do that, about how you align that. So we're going to start it this way. And once you start it, again, this plane is sprung, so it's not straight up and down. Now I'm looking at these reference lines and I'm lining it up. This is probably not the ideal way to hold it. If you had a sticking board to hold small pieces, that would be great. I don't have one handy. Not one for this size anyway. But this is working okay. And we'll just keep planing away here. And it's already starting to cut the cove out of there on the OG. Now with these molding planes, it's easy to slip out of the track. It does have a fence on this one of sorts. So you want to make sure it's snug and up against where it's supposed to be when you start each cut. Next part is going to be cutting the rabbet out in the back here. And so this one, make sure I orient it right. Let's do it this way. The way the plane's oriented. Now, again, this plane is set for a certain orientation. They got that little rabbet there, so I'm going to start this plane back here. And I'm going to try to take just a real light cut to start with. I'm going to have to adjust the blade a little bit. Oops. Haven't used this plane in a while. Okay. Nope, not yet. There we go. Now we're cutting. Okay. Again, you just want to keep the fence nice and tight up against there. And you can see this is cutting pretty quick because we're not cutting out much. You just try to hold it square and hold it straight. Okay, not cutting anymore. That's done. Look at it now. Now you got a profile right here, and you can see this here. And you can actually put the picture of glass goes back here. This is the nice decorative edge that goes over top of it. Now the only other thing I'm going to do is put a decorative edge along the back. And because I've got the stick like I do, I'm going to, you're going to get to see this one come off a little bit. I'm going to use my moving Philister plane for this. And I've got this set up already. It's going to work exactly the same like the other. There we go. This is cutting against the grain, mind you. It's just the way the plane's set up. Sometimes when you're using molding planes, you have to cut against the grain. Now, that was a very, very shallow cut. That's it. It's done. And what that's going to do is provide me a track for this round to ride in. I noticed this plane cut a lot better the other day when I was using it. One direction versus the other. And again, I'm using my fingers down here as a partial fence just to get it started. Okay. As long as you hold it about the same angle, and you get a pretty consistent cut. This plane does not have a depth stop and will continue to cut until you stop. So you just want to watch it, and what you're trying to do is to plane out all of that edge that you, or that little lip that you put in there, and I've got a little bit more here in the middle I'm going to get rid of. And you want to kind of just feel along to see if you've got a pretty consistent curve. My end needs a little work there. Okay. And that's pretty much it right there. Feels pretty consistent across the board, maybe a little deep at the ends here. And we'll just run it 2 more times across there. Okay. Yeah. That looks alright. That is our stick right there. And you can see the profile of the thing. You can see that little back cove molding. So when you have it on the picture frame, it's going to catch the shadows and it's going to look really nice. Looks like it's going to need a little bit of sanding up here. Anyway, that's pretty much it. You can continue to work these things as much as you want. If you want to change this into a different profile, you can use a different plane to add to it. Then all you're going to do is go over to your miter saw. Okay, so what I want to do is kind of match these pieces up here, and I want to see if they're even. Now this piece here, one of them is just a little bit longer than the other. That's easy to fix with the shooting board. Now this is a crummy shooting board that I made. I need to make a really good one, but I just haven't taken the time to do it. And that's probably not good. But anyway, it'll work for right now, nasty now and now. I've just got a little smoothing plane, and you just go right along there, cuts it off really nice, and feel it and check it. Make sure that it's even. And I'm going to do this one too. Now this shooting board will make your miters nice and tight if you check them all. And that's pretty good there. Okay, and when you finish up, you just kind of look at it there. I'm going to pan you over so you can, well, I don't think you can see all of the frame. Anyway, the joints look pretty nice. The other thing you want to look at is how the moldings match up. Because you did them by hand with you know, the molding planes and such, you want to make sure that they're going to be even. Now, I had a little boo-boo, as I said earlier, and did the wrong side of this stick to begin with. So this one doesn't quite match up in that corner and this corner as well as I would like. It's not bad. So I got a couple options here. Number one, the easiest option, well, I could replace this stick, and I may still yet do that. The other sticks are matching up really well, so you know, the better part of valor is probably to replace this piece here. If I don't, the other thing I can do once it's glued up is take a chisel and just trim right along the edges and blend in these corners. Now you're probably going to have to blend in those corners just a little bit anyway, because the molding plane's really good and it's pretty accurate, but it's not perfect. So you're probably going to have to blend those corners just a little bit anyway. So anyway, it's not bad. I'll think about it and decide if I need to replace this piece back here or not. But it really doesn't look too bad. And this is reclaimed chestnut wood, pretty old wood. It's going to have some defects, and it does. So maybe it's okay. Anyway, that's pretty much it. So then, like I said, you can use something like this here, and you can put your pieces in here and glue them up like this, and clamp them like this, one corner at a time. A lot of times I'll take an air nailer. Let's see, you can't see that. There we go. A lot of times I'll take an air nailer and drive a nail in here into both corners, and that'll keep it nice and tight together, and you can take it out of the clamp that way and the glue will keep drying. But you know, the miter's not too bad on there. I might clean them up just a little bit more, and I think we're pretty much done. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.